Joining us on NewsX, breaking developments coming in top of the hour. NewsX has just learned from its sources that the government is all set to move a key amendment in the parliament to set the stage for 33% women's reservation in the Lok Sabha by 2029. As per sources, the total seats in Lok Sabha will increase to 816 and 273 seats are likely to be allotted to women. We have also learned that a fresh delimitation exercise will be based on the 2011 census. Remember, this is something that southern states had been asking for. Joining us live, Manohar Kesri on the broadcast. Manohar, what are your sources telling you? How soon will this amendment be moved in Parliament?
देखिए बिल्कुल बहुत जल्द इसी हफ्ते में जो है सो ये बिल लोकसभा में लाया जा सकता है। और आज कई दौर की बैठक भी चली है। आज फर्स्ट हाफ में अगर मैं बात करूं तो केंद्रीय गृह मंत्री अमित शाह की कई राजनीतिक विपक्षी पार्टियों के साथ मुलाकात हुई है इस बिल को लेकर के। और आज शाम में एनडीए के जो सांसद हैं, जो फ्लोर लीडर हैं, उनके साथ बैठक हुई है। केंद्रीय गृह मंत्री ने इस बिल को लेकर के जानकारी दी है और इसके बाद जब कैबिनेट की बैठक होगी उसमें बिल को लाया जाएगा और उसके बाद लोकसभा में इसी सत्र में जो है सो ला करके पास कराया जा सकता है। सबसे बड़ी बात यह है कि 2011 की जो कास्ट सेंसस है उसको आधार बनाया गया है और ये संशोधन बिल जो होगा वो 2029 से लागू होगा। कहने का मतलब यह है कि जो राज्य हैं उन राज्यों में सबसे पहले 50% लोकसभा की सीटें बढ़ जाएगी और उसके बाद कुल लोकसभा सीटों में से 1/3 जो है सो 33% जो है वो महिला आरक्षण वो सीटें रिजर्व हो जाएगी। और उसके बाद लॉटरी के आधार पर कौन सी सीटें किसी भी राज्य में महिला के लिए लॉकेट होगी, रिजर्व होगा, वो तय किया जाएगा। जी,
कुछ और इस वक्त बड़ी जानकारी हमें मिल रही है। मनोहर, बने रहिए आप हमारे संग। As per our sources, all NDA partners have given their nod to the proposed amendments in the 33% women's quota bill. We are learning that the amendments will be moved in the ongoing session of Parliament. As per our sources, consultations with opposition parties to build a consensus has also started. So NDA parties have voiced their nod, have given their nod to this bill and these amendments. Manohar, there is consensus within the NDA now. Opposition parties are being also consulted with?
देखिए बिल्कुल अभी कुछ देर पहले ही अमित शाह के साथ एनडीए के सांसदों की बैठक खत्म हुई है और एनडीए के जो घटक दल हैं, चाहे जेडीयू की बात करें, टीडीपी की बात करें और दूसरी पार्टियों की बात करें, सभी ने सहमति दी है इस बिल को लाने के लिए। और वहीं अगर हम विपक्षी पार्टियों की बात करें तो आज लगातार जो है सो केंद्रीय गृह मंत्री अमित शाह के साथ तमाम रीजनल पार्टियां हों या फिर राष्ट्रीय पार्टियां हों विपक्ष की, उनके साथ बैठक हुई है, एक करके मुलाकात हुई है और एक आम सहमति बनाने की कोशिश सरकार की ओर से की जा रही है। और अब जो अगला कैबिनेट की बैठक होगी उसमें ये संशोधन बिल लाया जाएगा, कैबिनेट की मंजूरी होगी और उसके बाद सीधे लोकसभा में बिल लाया जाएगा। 28 और 29 दो दिन जो शनिवार और रविवार पड़ रहा है, हो सकता है कि उस दिन इस बिल को लाया जाए और चर्चा के लिए रखा जाए।
जी बिल्कुल। और मनोहर, जैसे आप कह रहे थे कि सर्वसहमति बनाने की कोशिश कर रही है मोदी सरकार और शायद इस वजह से हम देख रहे हैं कि 2011 के सेंसस पर डीलिमिटेशन का निर्णय किया जाएगा। यह विपक्षी सांसद मांग रहे थे। ये मांग दक्षिण राज्यों की भी थी कि 2011 सेंसस को आधार बनाया जाए। वो मांग को लगता है सरकार ने मान लिया है। और एक और जो बड़ी खबर आ रही है वह यह है कि 816 कहीं ना कहीं आंकड़ा पहुंच सकता है लोकसभा का और इसका मतलब यह रहेगा कि 273 सीट्स आवंटित किए जाएंगे महिलाओं के लिए।
देखिए बिल्कुल आपने सही कहा, क्योंकि अभी 543 लोकसभा में सीटें हैं और उनमें से जो है सो जो 50% इंक्रीज होगा वो करीब उसके बाद करीब 816 सीटें लोकसभा में हो जाएगी और उसके बाद उसका 1/3 अगर आप देखें 33% अगर महिलाओं की सीट देखें तो अराउंड 273 के आसपास होता है। तो ऐसी स्थिति में महिलाओं के लिए वो सारी सीटें रिजर्व हो जाएगी और इसका असर जो है सो लोकतंत्र के इस मंदिर में देखने को मिलेगा। और सबसे बड़ी बात यह है कि याद होगा कि सितंबर 2023 में नारी शक्ति अभिनंदन जो बिल था वो लोकसभा से देर रात तक पास हुआ था था, सभी पार्टियों ने सहमति जताई थी और भारी बहुमत के साथ जो है सो वो लोकसभा और राज्यसभा से पास हो गया था। और उसके बाद अब ये संशोधन बिल लाने की तैयारी है, क्योंकि डिलिमिटेशन में अभी प्रोसेस है, 2029 में लागू होगा। तो ऐसी स्थिति में 2011 को जो है सो आधार बनाते हुए, जो जातिगत जनगणना है उसको आधार बनाते हुए इसे जल्द से जल्द लागू किया जाएगा। जी,
कुछ मेहमानों का भी इस वक्त रुक कर लेते हैं। तन्वी पूर्ति, पॉलिटिकल एनालिस्ट, इज जॉइनिंग अस लाइव. शेखर विजयन, पॉलिटिकल एनालिस्ट, is also live with us. Vipin Sharma, senior journalist, joins us. Rajlakshmi Joshi, political analyst, is also with us on the broadcast. Let me make a start with you first. Tanvi Purti, what do you make on this source-based news that we're putting out this hour? It seems that women's reservation bill will become a reality very soon. The legislation planned for rather the action plan for 2029 is likely to meet its target, its deadline, its objective. The government wants to ensure this through this amendment.
Absolutely, Uday. I think 3 years back I did a show with you, which was regarding cabinet ministers in Modi government, women cabinet ministers, and there we discussed in detail that how badly India needs a women reservation bill to correct the gender imbalance in parliament, in state assemblies as well. When we look at political parties in India, if we consider the current West Bengal elections, look at the number of women nominations. There are actually women disappointed, how much hard work they have put into putting for their party ideology and not getting a ticket in return just because they are a woman at the end of the day. And TMC getting applause from across political spectrums for giving many good tickets to women candidates. So this kind of mindset among the political parties, among the state assemblies in the Lok Sabha will eventually improve and help women representation, help to bring women in mainstream politics, in polity, to discuss gender-based issues, and not just gender-based issues from a woman's perspective, because there are so many times we see laws, legislations being passed in the parliament, and then later on we are discussing okay, this is not practically feasible for women, so let's bring some amendments. Why not have a discussion before, why not keep that in mind when we are making those legislation? So this is a historic step to correct the gender imbalance that was long due in our country. If we look at the representation, especially in the state assemblies, Uday, the highest number of representation is in the state of Chhattisgarh, which is 18%. And there is in Mizoram, there is 0 women legislator. In Himachal Pradesh, there is only 1. So the state, so the picture is not very rosy as of now. This is much needed to improve the situation.
Yes, often what happens, Shekhar, is that, these kind of announcements are made and, they do not meet their deadlines. These bills and proposals linger and linger on. But obviously the NDA government is serious on this issue. They brought in the legislation, got it passed. This is something that had been debated and considered for years, but no government was able to pass it. But the NDA government managed to get it passed in both the houses of parliament, and now is serious on meeting the 2029 deadline for its implementation as well, which is why this week itself these amendments could be brought in and passed as well.
Absolutely, Uday. I think this is a bill for Viksit Bharat. We talk so much about Viksit Bharat, developed India by 2047. If you have women in power, if you have more percentage of women, being out there in power, it makes a big, big difference. It's not just a symbolic move. I think it's an institutional move. We are moving into a transformation era where it's not just symbolic, it's institutional. You're talking about 82 women MPs moving on to 181 women MPs. It's not just, tokenism. It's not just business as usual. It's also a landmark moment, I feel, where the opposition cannot oppose this for anything, because this is about woman power, Nari Shakti. And this is what the government has always been talking about. The BJP government has been doing this, and they've actually made this happen this time around. So it'll also help India in, from a global perspective, in terms of global standing. When you get women involved in all things, there are more things which really work in terms of food, clothing, shelter, in terms of economic impact also, that makes a big difference. So I think overall, in terms of 5 things which really it works, is it's not just symbolic, it's institutional. It's a momentous moment for India. I think the third thing is not just business as usual, it's moving to making leadership changes. That's also going to happen here. There's going to be an economic impact, and last but not the least, it's going to be a global landmark moment for India, because people are going to be looking at India in this, and India has made a move here where the BJP government or the government in charge has actually done this, and the opposition.
अरे भाई लाइव हूं मैं.
Right, I think we're having some connection issues there with you, Shekhar, but stay with us. Rajlakshmi Joshi is also joining us now. Rajlakshmi Joshi, what is the messaging of this all? First, of course, this government brought in this bill and now is serious about making it get implemented by 2029. How would you react to this as a woman, Rajlakshmi Joshi? And also, do you believe that it is also a good and important step that the government is trying to evoke consensus on this? They have the numbers, they can get the bill through, they can get the amendment passed, but they're trying to evoke consensus, unanimity over such an issue.
Hello there, and it is such a delight to be speaking on this issue. And also, I totally agree with my co-panelist and my dear friend Tanvi here. So what she said was right. Definitely we need more representation of women. I mean, I don't think that is anything up for debate as of now. But the fact of the matter is that the BJP has definitely walked the talk, I would say, that not only have they made sure that resolution was passed, the thing about the women reservation bill, but also they're trying to make a small amendment in terms of the fact that ideally you would have required the delimitation process to happen before the women reservation bill could have been implemented, and for those number of seats to be put into action. But then that is why they are trying to make this amendment that the delimitation will be on the basis of the 2011 census. So that is the kind of seriousness with which the government wants to go ahead with the women reservation bill. Otherwise, again, this would have been stuck in limbo for a need of the census. So and after that, the delimitation process. So right now, the government is going ahead with all of this, and that is why I think that this is definitely showing a lot of seriousness towards this issue. So this, just imagine that it will have approximately 273 women representatives. So that is such a huge number over what is there right now. So that I think is something that all political parties should definitely take in much seriousness, and I hope that they will all have consensus, because they need 2/3 majority in both houses of parliament to be able to pass this amendment. So I think that now I think most political parties would not want to oppose this bill as such, because then right now what you can see is that the women representation and the women actually play a major role in ensuring a victory for any political party. So that is again another factor that no political party would want to mess with, angering or upsetting the women. So that's why I hope that the BJP finds consensus with all the other opposition parties as well. And I'm glad. I think Mallikarjun Kharge ji has said that they are open to have these discussions and talk about the modalities. So I hope that all the political parties take this in all positivity, because like Tanvi also rightly said, that if a woman is left out of the lawmaking process, then a lot of issues related to society, related to women's issues, related to the families, I think that you need a consensus from both men and women. Otherwise, the laws will pertaining to women will always be made by
More
men.
breaking news, in fact, also coming in now. As per sources, number of seats will be increased by 50%. The percentage of share of each state's representation in Lok Sabha will be unchanged, though. Number of seats in Lok Sabha and Vidhan Sabha may be increased by 50%, but the seats in Rajya Sabha will remain unchanged for now. So seats in Rajya Sabha unlikely to be changed, Manohar. Meanwhile, we are learning that seats in Lok Sabha and Vidhan Sabha to go up, but the proportion of states representation to be unchanged.
अभी तक जो सोर्सेस के मुताबिक जो खबर निकल करके सामने आई है, और आज जो एनडीए के सांसदों को बताया गया है, विपक्षी पार्टियों को बताया गया है कि इस तरह का बिल सरकार लाने जा रही है, उसमें कमोबेश वही स्थिति है कि लोकसभा की जो सीटें हैं वो 50% इंक्रीज होने वाली है। राज्यसभा के बारे में अभी जानकारी नहीं दी गई है, हो सकता है वो अनचेत हो, लेकिन जो केंद्र शासित प्रदेश है जहां जनसंख्या बढ़ी है, हो सकता है कि वहां पर सीटों की संख्या बढ़े, और जहां जनसंख्या कम बढ़ी है 2011 के सेंसस के अनुसार से, वहां पर जस की तस स्थिति हो। चाहे गोवा की बात करें, दमन दीव की बात करें, दिल्ली की बात करें, इन तमाम केंद्र शासित प्रदेश और राज्य में ये स्थिति देखने को मिल सकती है। जी,
how important is this consensus as well that the government is trying to bring about? Some of the South states had opposed the newer census being used as a basis. The government has decided to use the 2011 census as a basis, which is what they wanted. Also, the states' representation will remain unchanged. That again was a concern of certain opposition states. So, in an effort to get consensus, government has agreed to certain demands by opposition states as well. How good a move is this, Tanvi, in trying to get bipartisan support for such an important legislation?
See, some kind of issue will remain, whatever the government does on this issue, because you can't make everybody happy. But as far as I know about the data, the southern states, their concern is that they have implemented population control measures better than the northern states. So their representation will decrease if the 2011 census is taken into account. But as of now, we don't have any other census, so we'll have to go about it. We need to see how the government will able to bring them on board. Plus, apart from that, I think there are many administrative and operational challenges that this new amendment will bring for the government, and it is very pertinent to note that how they will address them. For example, let's look at the parliament efficiency. Can we imagine, with 500 something legislators and the chaos that happens with 800 legislators? Imagine the chaos that will increase. Then, the infrastructural cost, the cost of running the parliament, that will shoot up. So how the government is going to balance that? Then again, I think the major question of debate will be the reserved seats, whether it is the SC seats or the ST seats, their representation in proportion to their increase in the population according to the 2011 census. So there are many operational and administrative challenges that the government will have to take everybody on board to meet them. And this is not going to be a rosy ride for the government and for the opposition as well. This will be a bumpy road, which I think India will navigate its way out once they discover how things are going to operate.
Yes, let me also, in fact, quickly get you back in here. Yes, Radhakshmi Joshi as well, because you want to come in, and of course also you were talking about how this is going to be a very significant legislation for all of India, for urban India as well as rural India.
Yes, Uday, this delimitation was definitely necessary, because if you have noticed that there has been an increase in population. Earlier, the MPs were representing constituencies to the tune of, say, maybe 5 to 10 lakhs. Now it has become double. So it is something that is unmanageable and unimaginable also. So I think that for a person to be able to manage a constituency and for all administrative purposes, definitely we need a delimitation, and that is exactly why. But the government doesn't want to put the women reservation bill on hold, and that is why to be able to put all the debates, all the arguments to rest, I think that the government has come to this kind of a conclusion to probably go by the 2011 2011 census. But I'm sure that in the days to come, there will definitely be some kind of a solution as to how to come across this the discrepancy in the numbers, because there is definitely a huge difference in how there is a demographic change in all the different states. But at the same time, you also know probably that even today there is a very stark difference in how certain states are represented, which have very few numbers in terms of population, in comparison with states that have higher density of population. So even today there is a discrepancy as such, but then the government, I think that they were talking about a proportional increase as well. And especially like you said, now in urban areas, it is very difficult for an MP to cater to say maybe more 20 lakh or more people, which is the case in a lot of constituencies, unfortunately. So
Yes.
this was definitely the need of the day, and I'm so happy that at the same time we will also have an increase in the number of
Absolutely. This is
representation
going
for
to,
women.
usher in a big change, Bipin Sharma, isn't it? This is going to usher in a big change, and it will happen as soon as 2029.
Uday, this question is for me.
Mr. Sharma, can you hear me?
Yeah, Uday, I can
Absolutely.
hear you
Please
now.
go ahead.
There is no second thought that this is a master stroke by the government, the ruling dispensation. And let me stick my neck out to say that actions speak louder than words. And with this particular move, I don't see any rhyme or reason that the opposition will oppose it. They will definitely like to go with this amendment and with this new development, because no one would like to send a message across the spectrum that they are anti this new bill, this new amendment. But then, you see, what would be interesting to watch out is how actually this pans out, because ultimately the implementation part, the other nitty-gritties, so that of course time will be a big factor, but then definitely a big shot in the arm for the government. And opposition would definitely be clueless today, because because they would be thinking that, because in this present day scenario, when the West Asia conflicts are at its peak, and there is all the uncertainty in the world regarding the oil and gas prices. So, keeping in mind all these factors, this comes as a big master stroke, a big shot in the arm for the government, something to cheer about amidst all the gloom and the hopelessness. Reason being, because war does not augur well. The more the war prolongs, the more uneasiness, the more uncertainty for the entire country, for the entire globe. But then definitely, because let us not forget what the Prime Minister said. He said India is known for women-led development, and that is what sets us apart. So
Yes.
we had this Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam 2023. So of course now Article 81, 82, that will have to be modified, constitutional amendment.
Okay.
And then we'll see this amendment actually getting fructified, seeing the light of the day.
Right.
A big day for the
Absolutely.
country.
My thanks to all of our guests for joining us. We've run out of time. Let's slip into a short break.